assembly video, we felt there was a few more things that could use explaining. So we're going to start with the work area that I use here. I use my trailer. You can go buy a sheet of plywood and have a nice flat area. Would work well. And the blocks really help out for holding the hoop in place. The line you put on here, that's the inside diameter of your hoop. And it's 54 1/4 inches inside diameter. That's 27 1/8 radius from the center out. Get your circle on there, and on the plans, this isn't the drawing, but there is a drawing just like this with the machine. It'll have a center point, and the lines will be extended as far as we could on the page. So you can find the center of your circle, match this to it, and you'll be able to lay it out and get your 60-degree marks. So we did that for you. And we'll go on to the benders we use for the tubing. They're conduit benders. You can get them at Menards, Home Depot, Lowe's. The one for 625 tubing, the 5/8, is a number 930. The one we use for the 3/4 inch and the 7/8 inch, the 750 and 875 tubing, is a 931. These are all Gardner bender brands. And the one we use for the 1 inch is a 912. For cutting tubes, this is I think I mentioned it before, the cheapest one I could get was $100. We got a blade. I put a good blade in there. It's a 60 tooth finished blade, carbide tip. The saw worked really well. We built a couple machines with it. Only for aluminum though. You're going to get some chrome moly that you're going to order from Aircraft Spruce. Don't try cutting that chrome moly with that. You'll need a hacksaw for that. And we didn't show that in the video, but you're going to cut 4 2-inch pieces out of that chrome moly. And the rest we're going to use for reinforcing in the machine if you want to. We'll show you that in a little bit. For the hoop construction, take your time. When you do your bending it, this forms the tube a little bit. You're gonna have to, we showed you a little bit in the vise. When you get it right, I mean the thing comes apart. Spend a lot of time getting your joints nice, and so everything comes apart nice and easy. It makes it well worth it later on. Another thing on the machine, when you're finished, or at some point, make sure you file this nice and round at these joints. The ends of these tubes, because the paraglider lines are going to come up and fall off of there. We want no sharp edges to cut any paraglider lines there. So take some time and file those nice and smooth. We talked about drilling the push pins. This machine, I just drilled them straight out. The lines will slide up no problem. Drill them straight out or in here. This is another good spot, straight in from the side or straight out here. Any way you want to do that. These clips, let's see. The clips that I can't get one out, that are in here. These clips, for now, I'll send them to you. Just let me know. I'll send them to you for free. The best way to do it is to order them in bulk. So I've got bags of them here. On the plans it just says big clips and small clips. I'll supply those for you. Check my notes. These plastic end caps, they are chair ends. I get them from Ace Hardware. I have some right here. Ace Hardware tips for 7/8 tubing. It puts a nice finish on the machine. Let's go over the machine a little bit here. For the weight shift, the first 5 kits I had made, we had these made for the weight shift. Which, if you can get in here, John, this right here, it's the hinges. In the plans, there's a welded T. These can be made cheaper. And I said a little bit, but it wasn't real clear. The distance from here to the end on this side is greater than from here to the distance on this side. And that's to clear the bolts of these heads when the arm is down. If you get these here, these are a little bit narrower, so we had to buy some 5/8 washers to fill in the gap back there. Once again, any bolt that doesn't get a nut on it gets Loctited. That goes into a stubby. Here's a perfect example right here of a stubby without a tube on it. You got a saddle on the back. You want to Loctite all those bolts that do not get a nut. Anytime it's attached to tubing, you're going to want a saddle on each side of the tube, unless there's something inside. We have the chromoly pieces in here. That'll be more evident later. But if you got chromoly in there or down here, see, where's that other one? Right here, this attachment to the hoop. The connector is inside there, and that's got 1/4 of an inch of aluminum, so you don't need to put saddles there. You'd be welcome to if you want to. Alright, for the weight shift, if you're gonna, possibly some instructors are gonna want you to train without using the weight shift, which is built right into the frame. Here's that stop we talked about to keep the harness from coming up too far. And this also, this 6.5 inches or 6 inches, anywhere between 6 and 8 inches is going to work fine. We take a square and make it flush with this top tube. We bring this up, and from here to the top of the square, that should be between 6 and 8 inches. That determines the angle of the seat on the harness also. 6 to 8 inches is comfortable for me. I kind of like to be, well, you kind of sink into the seat. You can sink back or you can scooch forward on the seat. It works well. I recommend that, but that is, I'm just letting you know, that is adjustable. For instructors that don't want you to use the weight shift, or if you don't want to use the weight shift, you're going to get at least 2 extra stubbies in the kit. You can drill another one underneath it here and lock that in. If you're going to attach this unit to a trike, you're going to want to disable the weight shift on it also. So that's one way to do that. And we can talk about the netting. I'm going to get these out of the way. I just use, this is 3/16 spongy. You can use 3/16 or 1/4 inch. The netting I get from Gurok.com or Cascade Nets. Once again, I buy enough to do 5 at a time. I get it cheaper that way. So if you want to buy netting from me, we can do it real cheap. These are just standard stainless steel key rings from Ace Hardware. They call them 1 inch. They're actually like 1 1/8 inches. So anywhere in there, 1 inch to 1 1/8 inch key rings. And then I find the center of each section, and they're 10 inches apart, and that makes these 9 inches where it comes over this, where it comes over the radial tubes. And the holes are 7/32 holes, and they're 3/4 of an inch apart. And the key rings, you can just put them right in there real nice. It seems to work. This is one netting option. And while we're talking about the netting is only there to keep your paraglider lines and to give you a warning that the prop is back there and spinning. If you take a look at this machine here, this engine puts out, depending on what prop and everything you have, or what engine, it can be 150 pounds of thrust. I mean, if it gets away from you, that netting's not gonna protect you from getting into the propeller. You want to put something stronger on there, please do. But I don't know, liability is a big concern for me. I want you to know what you're getting into. And the netting is not to protect you. It's just to keep things out of the prop. So just be aware of that. Learn how to handle this machine the right way to protect yourself. We'll go back to this one. We got the key rings. I just tie some keychain carabiners on here for attachment to the netting there. This is the best frame in the business. We just unhook our netting. I'll try and do it from behind here. And the way I carry this machine is I just take it apart at the 3 and 9 o'clock positions here. Like so. And then this will just fold right down over the prop. You can slide it in your van or SUV. No loose parts, quick and easy. And option number 2, if you have to make it smaller yet, we just start loosen up our netting and take it apart at the bottom. And there's your whole hoop. Then of course you can break it down even smaller. And there's a whole paramotor cage that when it's put together, I can put all my weight on the top of that. Your radial tubes just pop off then. Side tubes, I bolt mine. You can just use a pin with a retaining clip to get the side ones off quick. See what else I got. The backboard. Stay there. In the plans, there's a full-size drawing of this. This is 1/4-inch plywood. What it is underlayment for linoleum. You can get it at Menards, Home Depot again. You can use any material you want. The dimensions for the holes and everything and the slots are on there. What I do with this is put it right on the center here. it just velcros on there. The Velcro, just two-sided Velcro from the hardware store once again. That's it, and this protects your harness from the bolt heads, and it just makes it real comfortable for a big area pushing, you know, when the thing's pushing on your back while you're flying. It's really comfortable, and this underlayment's really light. You could use plexiglass, you could use anything you wanted. On the plans, there are holes in the plans marked Corsair engine only. That's these 4 holes here. I think we covered this a little bit. The length of these 2 weight shift tubes. If you're going to use a different engine, you may want to re-engineer the location of these things. It doesn't matter how you do it. Once the thing is all together, you have your fuel tank down here and your engine's mounted here. If you take this one, and this one, take 6 nuts off, the whole engine and fuel tank assembly comes out. I mount my throttle cable to this center section, so the throttle, everything just comes with it, and you just have your bare cage to work with after that. It just stands there on its own. So everything comes out nice and neat. Any tube on this machine you could cut and sleeve, you know, like that. Put a chrome moly sleeve in there and bolt it on each side. I intend to, when I start shipping these things around assembled, I'm going to cut this here and here. We talked about that chrome moly piece for reinforcing in here. I really suggest you do that. Put that chrome moly piece in there. These bolts will hold the top of it in. And you can cut your tubes 1.5 inches or so down and just put another bolt in here, and then that'll break down even smaller. Any place on here. The legs I don't have set up for shipping. You're bending the whole thing. But my legs will be cut somewhere in this straight area here, so they can come apart to get in a smaller package for shipping it around the country. Tubing. You're going to get your tubing in 6-foot lengths. I don't have a 6-foot length here. You may want to get a pencil and paper and write these down. Out of one 6-foot tube, you get 1 leg and 1 of these 17-inch tubes. So when you're building it, you're going to cut your 17-inch tubes and take the rest of that tube and lay it aside. So you're going to, you know, for 2 6-foot tubes, you're going to get 2 legs and 2 17-inch pieces. Out of 1 6-foot tube, you're going to get this radial tube, those are both cut at 21 inches, and you'll get this tube out of the leftover. So you're going to get a 6-foot tube for these 3 radial tubes on this side and a 6-foot tube for those. Out of another 6-foot tube, you're going to get this piece and this piece for the center section. That's going to take up a whole 6-foot tube. You're going to get your 2 875 hoop sections out of 1 tube. And out of the last 6-foot tube, you're going to get all your cross pieces. This piece, all your horizontal straight pieces. This piece, this piece, this piece, this piece, and the one down here. That's how you cut your tubing. your bolts. Let's see. These are AN13s. The ones that go into the stubbies are AN13s. You use a lot of AN13s. We got 34 of them ordered. And you'll have a few left over for any modifications or anything. You're going to get 4 AN17s. That's these 4 here for the motor plates. You're going to get 4 26 AN26 bolts. I forget where those go. Oh, the 26s go here, 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 and here. And then you're going to get 27s. You're going to get 2 27s. Those go here and here. 31s, AN31s. Those are the ones you use with the spacer here. Put that 3/8 inch spacer so you clear your bolt heads for mounting the legs. And also I had you order 2 34 in or 2 34/8 bolts. For modifications, or if you want more space here. Sometimes it's nice to have them. That about covers the frame. These clips, these are the clips. You can get them from Valco. They're like 40 cents a piece. Like I say, I buy them in bulk. I'll get them to you. Okay, one more little thing about this particular frame. This is prototype number 3, and these weight shift bars back here, this one here and this one here, it's been redesigned on your plans. We moved them down into this space here. I just thought I'd mention that in case you notice that something doesn't look right. So these are lower, the weight shift's going to work better, and the J-bars are going to come out straighter when they hit the stop. So I just thought I'd mention that. We'll do a walk around the finished machine. I've been flying this one for over a year now. And one thing we haven't covered is the pull handle. You're going to need a couple pulleys from the hardware store. These are just from Ace. They're like $5 a piece. I don't like the way this one is. I really don't have a recommendation for the pull start, but when I get another engine and mount it on one of the new frames, we'll work that out. The pulleys, it's going to come off the starter and come right up here and then up over to this pulley is how I'm figuring that's going to work, because I had to modify my starter to make this work. This can be mounted over on this side. You can come straight out and have your pull start on the left side too. Either way. Throttles, I have 5 harnesses rated. Well, I have some harnesses. We get harnesses from Paracruiser. We get the J-bars from paracruiser.com. Throttles you can order from paracruiser.com. We'll make sure you get all the parts you need to finish it. What else were we going to talk about here? The gas tank on the next prototype. Your gas tank will be a little bit lower. I don't like how close this fuel cap is to the muffler, so we took care of that. Otherwise, it's exactly the same machine. It's been great. I talked about these stops, and see that that stop is going to dictate how your seat sits in the harness, and the weight shift works very well. And that wraps it up.